I'm in the coffee shop.
Get us a tea.
Fucking Brits.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, not to be confused with the 2009 entry of the same name, is filled with 17 grueling, intense and occasionally drawn out missions. Under the watchful eye of General Shepard, Task Force 141 has returned, featuring fan favourites Captain Price, Ghost, Soap and more. Their latest mission sees these elite soldiers tasked with taking down Hassan Zyani, a major in Iran's Quds forces. Zyani has set out on a revenge mission against America after his commanding officer, General Gulbrani, was killed during an illegal weapons deal between Russia and Iran. Along the way, players will experience twists, turns, and some Michael Bay-style action in one of Call of Duty's most cinematic storylines ever. There's no doubt about it, Modern Warfare 2 is the best looking Call of Duty game so far. After almost 2 years in the wild, developers are beginning to take full advantage of what the current generation of consoles have to offer, resulting in what can only be described as Call of Duty the movie. The cutscenes will leave you in awe, the lighting will leave you in disbelief, and the attention to detail will leave you damn near speechless. But is this the classic Call of Duty we all know and love? Of course it is. Infinity Ward knows the formula well, and they weren't going to stray too far from what works, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There are some new features thrown in for good measure, even if they do feel completely shoehorned in. A new dialogue wheel gives players the option to steer certain parts of conversations, and boy did it take me by surprise when it first appeared. I can always appreciate the attempt to spice things up, but this was certainly a feature I was not expecting to ever see in a Call of Duty game, and for good reason. The first instance of this feature appearing was borderline bizarre, as a conversation between Gaz and his colleague Laswell sees the pair discuss their favourite weapons. I can appreciate that the point was to introduce players to this feature in a lighter manner, prior to a much more important mission later down the line, but it just felt incredibly out of place and very strange. The dialogue wheel goes on to appear multiple times throughout the campaign, but it only really had an impact during an interrogation scene, where players must select the correct answers or be killed. In the grand scheme of things, the dialogue wheel is a small cog in a much bigger machine. Modern Warfare 2 introduces plenty of other new gameplay mechanics, and even though they don't serve much of a point in the single player campaign, it's clear to any Call of Duty fan that Infinity Ward is simply seeking to prep players for the changes that will become the new norm in Warzone 2.0. A whole mission based around the game's new car hijacking feature is thrilling and really makes you feel like you're in a Michael Bay movie. But just like a large portion of the game's missions, it drags on for far too long. Modern Warfare 2's campaign can be completed in around 6 to 7 hours, but the first half of the story feels like a lifetime. Between an AC-130 mission that spans 2 missions and some of the most overpowered AI in Call of Duty history, I often found myself pleading for missions to just come to an end. Don't get me wrong, there's fun to be had in every mission, but a lot of them could simply be cut in half as they become mind-numbingly repetitive. In the lead up to the release of Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward revealed that they had completely revamped the way AI works. I was under the impression that this meant enemies were a little bit smarter, but I quickly found out that Infinity Ward had just made them incredibly overpowered. Not only are certain enemies now equipped with armor plates, but they will also laser you down with absolutely no hesitation. I played through the campaign on regular difficulty, and I'll say it with pride, this is the hardest Call of Duty game ever made. I died more times than I care to mention, but I also got to read every single death screen quote. Swings and roundabouts, eh? Despite some drawn-out missions and blood-boiling AI, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 feels damn good. One of my biggest gripes with Treyarch's Black Ops Cold War was that many of the weapons felt like pea shooters with no real differentiation. But you can always count on Infinity Ward to put 110% into a weapon's audio, visual, and general feel. Each weapon feels completely different from the last. The audio when firing is unique, the attention to visual detail is incredible, and you can feel the difference in weight between a sniper rifle and a submachine gun, for example. When you combine these detailed weapons with the removal of most of the game's HUD, you're left with one of the most realistic Call of Duty games to date. If, like me, you're a Call of Duty fan, then this is very much more of the same, but that also means you can't really go wrong. Some of the new features do feel unnecessary, while others feel like a tutorial for Warzone 2.0. Modern Warfare 2 is certainly let down by repetitive gameplay and missions that overstay their welcome. But with that being said, Infinity Ward has given fans what amounts to a gripping story and stunning cinematic experience that's peppered with a few flawed concepts and disappointing elements. And that is our review for Modern Warfare 2's single-player campaign. We will, of course, come back around in some manner after the full game has released and we've been able to go online. Until then, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget the bell icon so that you're notified whenever we've got new stuff. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, my dears.
They are going to want proof.